What's the relation between 5G and the flights? There's some connection, and recently there's very, very big problems with that in the US. More specifically, there are over 200, 300 flights got canceled just because of 5G network. The flight got canceled just in one day, which is 2% of the flights they normally come to the US. So the reason is because they are afraid of the 5G service they install near the airports. They will interfere with the aircraft. And that's actually the warning from the US Federal Aviation Administration. So that's short for FAA. FAA actually warns that those 5G stations may affect aircraft, especially Boeing 777, 777. So the thing is, AT&T and the Verizon, they were planning to install 5G, roll out 5G service in certain cities in the US this week. And because of the FAA warning the airlines, they just too afraid of flying to the airport. Those airport they are going to install 5G, so they cancel a lot of flights, over 300 flights. And why 5G will affect the aircraft? And this 5G, similar 5G network, actually already been installed in over 36 countries. They didn't have any problems with that. But why there is particular problems in the US? The reason is because of the radio spectrum. The 5G is actually kind of a radio wave, right? It's a radio wave, and it's like a long wave. If you see the spectrum, there's a short wave and a long wave spectrum, and 5G is closer to the radio. How longer the wavelength of 5G waves is longer than red line, but it's much shorter than the other network like 3G FM radio. So it's slightly shorter than that, but still considered long wave. And there are certain spectrum that's actually also used for in the aviation industry. They use certain spectrum to measure the altitude of the aircraft, so that they can communicate. The pilot can communicate with the ground. So that's the way they communicate. Then their measurement is very important. But the US 5G spectrum just happens to be very close to that spectrum that's used to measure the height of the aircraft. So that they make a concern. If they install the 5G, they will interfere with each other. So you may not be able to measure the aircraft's altitude accurately, and they will make it very dangerous. And especially for Boeing 777. So that's a problem because FCC, Federal Communications Commissions, they approve this part of this section of spectrums to telecommunication companies like AT&T and the Verizon, and then they're going to install. But it's just the moment they're going to install, which is this week, the FAA just warns that you couldn't do that because they will affect our certain aircraft. So that kind of messed up situation. I don't know what they happened, but it's very. I think it's very worth thinking why these things happen, and it didn't happen in other countries. And more importantly, how to solve this problem, because this is the kind of specs already rolled out, right? They already bought a lot of machine and prepare a lot for that. You cannot just change this spectrum all of a sudden. You should have known this beforehand, but they didn't. So I don't know what happened. I know how they were supposed to solve this problem. So far, the temporary solution is AT&T and the Verizon. They're going to postpone the installation of that until the problem is solved. And I don't know how they're going to solve that. I'll probably keep updating these incidents. Okay, so if you would like to receive more technology analysis like today's video, don't forget to subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you next time.